Apple iPhone 14 Pro Max Review. A gigantic, brawny smartphone. A brick. The largest Apple smartphone is bulky and heavy, but offers a super bright 6.7-inch LTPO display, a fast processor and, above all, a much larger battery than the smaller Pro model, but uses the same 48MP triple camera. Read our review to find out whether this justifies the steep surcharge. Apple's biggest smartphone has now joined the fray, bringing no changes to the concept of last year's tried and tested iPhone 13 Pro Max. Compared to the smaller iPhone 14 Pro, the larger display is the main focus of attention. Unlike in previous years, however, the cameras are now identical and no small benefit has been implemented in the Max. Apple has also increased the prices considerably for the large model, which now starts at $1,449 US $1,099 in the smallest storage configuration, 128 GB, and can cost up to $2,099 US $1,599 for 1 TB. US 100 more for a larger display seems steep to us. Find out what the iPhone 14 Pro Max has to offer in the following review. Case, Add Notch. Welcome Dynamic Island. The Apple iPhone 14 Pro Max looks huge, even when another smartphone with a similarly sized display is placed alongside it. This impression is further reinforced by the heavy weight of 240 grams, and Apple was even brave enough to add another 2 grams to the scales. Nevertheless, the smartphone feels good in the hands because it is not too top-heavy despite its high weight. The workmanship is excellent. Gaps are even and very tight, and the haptics are also great. The front and back are protected by durable glass, and the frame is made of highly polished stainless steel. The glass on the front is extremely susceptible to fingerprints, while those on the matte back of our gold model are barely visible. Torsional rigidity is good, but there was some audible creaking inside the iPhone during attempts to twist it. For the first time since the iPhone X, Apple has dispensed with the notch and replaced it with a dual punch hole solution, which was dubbed Dynamic Island. This is an animated software extension that encloses the notches in the display and uses it as an information and input surface. The Apple smartphone is IP68 certified, namely dust and waterproof, and the battery is permanently installed. The iPhone 14 Pro Max is available in dark purple, gold, silver and space black. Our colleagues over at iFixit have already disassembled the Pro Max and given it a decent score, 610, which, however, is worse than the small model since it does not yet take advantage of the improved internal design. Apple provides a sustainability report on its website. Equipment: iPhone 14 Pro Max continues to use Lightning. The storage configurations of the iPhone 14 Pro Max are identical to last year's model. You can choose from 128 GB for US $1,099, 256 GB for US $1,199. 512 GB for US $1,399, 1 TB for US $1,599. This means that the Max models have also become noticeably more expensive. The well-known Lightning connector is again available as a physical interface, which does not support high transfer rates, but does support a wide portfolio of optional adapters. Bluetooth 5.3, MagSafe and NFC are also on board. Software: Dynamic Island at the heart of iOS 16. The Apple iPhone 14 Pro Max comes with Apple's iOS 16, which has implemented the Dynamic Island and Always On Display features for the first time. The former is a software solution to hide the punch holes and to display the information of running apps in a compact, optical way. We really like this in everyday use and find it especially practical. The function has been mostly limited to Apple's own apps so far, but the interface is also open to other app developers. The iPhone also gets an OD that can be customized. Nothing groundbreaking, but it is quite useful and very well implemented. You can read about all the new features of iOS 16 here. In the screenshots, the punch holes are hidden if Dynamic Island is not active. Communication GNSS, good positioning, but still no Wi-Fi 6E. Apple's iPhone 14 Pro Max features modern mobile standards and broad frequency coverage, so connections should be possible worldwide without any problems. However, the fast 5G mmWave standard is still exclusively reserved for models in the USA, and the same applies to the emergency call function via satellite at the time of review. Wi-Fi 6 is available for the WLAN. The iPhone does not support the newer 6E standard, which means that it cannot use the 6GHz network. Instead, it has to make do with the slower and more frequented 2.4 and 5.0 GHz bands. In tandem with our Asus ROG Rapture GTX 11000 reference router, we registered very stable data transfers, but they fall somewhat short of expectations in terms of speed, especially during receiving. The iPhone 14 Pro Max uses all global satellite navigation systems, including the dual-band function for localization. Positioning is therefore very fast and precise, even indoors. On a short bike tour, we compared the Apple smartphone with the Garmin Venue 2. Deviations are minimal both in the details and the total length of the route, but the smartwatch is a little more precise despite the iPhone's solid performance. Telephony voice quality. When held to the ear, the Apple iPhone 13 Pro Max has a very natural voice quality with decent noise suppression, but reaches its limits in loud background noise and occasionally lets intrusive sound slip in every now and then. The speaker can be used well in quiet environments. It does not reverberate but makes the user's voice a little quieter. Nevertheless, the microphone's range is good, even though minor interference can be noticed from time to time, especially in close range. Important features such as Volt and Wi-Fi calls are supported. A nano SIM can be used in our review sample. An eSIM is also available as an alternative. Cameras. Powerful triple camera in the iPhone 14 Pro Max. The front camera of Apple's iPhone 14 Pro Max has been upgraded after several years and now uses on autofocus and is nominally more light sensitive with an aperture of f1.9. With it, you can take good selfies even in dim light. The triple camera on the back is identical to that of the iPhone 14 Pro, which we discuss in further detail in the corresponding review. The new 48MP sensor offers a high level of detail and balanced image composition. Furthermore, optical image stabilization with second-generation sensor shift stabilization ensures a steadier hand. Some users report errors in HDR situations, but we have not experienced this issue so far. The 2x zoom is carried out digitally on the main sensor, but it does its job very well. Optically, threefold magnification is available, which can make use of conventional. The ultra-wide angle again serves as a macro lens. The color deviations from the main lens are not as large as in the predecessor, but still visible. In terms of videography, Apple has fine-tuned and expanded the cinema mode, which can now finally record in Ultra HD at 30 fps. ProRes is also again available, but can only be used to a limited extent at 1080p and 30 fps, 29 mbs on our 128GB review model. Full 4K 30 fps, 100 mbs or Full HD at 60 fps, 59 mbs are available on our small 256GB Pro. Due to the amount of data, however, this decision is quite understandable. Image comparison. Choose a scene and navigate within the first image. One click changes the position on touch screens. One click on the zoomed-in image opens the original in a new window. The first image shows the scaled photograph of the test device. The camera of Apple's iPhone 14 Pro Max also performs well enough under controlled lighting conditions. However, the results in color checker are not so impeccable, showing quite high deviations from the target in the green tones. The image of our test chart is very balanced and even fine details are still visible in the center of the image. Accessories warranty care becomes more expensive. The scope of delivery of the Apple iPhone 14 Pro Max remains Spartan as usual, including only a USB-C to Lightning cable, a SIM tool, a sticker, quick start guide and warranty information. Apple, on the other hand, offers plenty of accessories, of which a matching power adapter is certainly one of the most important, but also extends to cases, MagSafe accessories and much more. The tight warranty of 12 months can be extended with the Care Insurance package, which can be purchased directly for 2 years with a one-time payment or paid monthly. The latter variant is slightly more expensive, but can also run for longer than 2 years. Overall, the package is now more expensive, but the unintentional damage claims per year are now no longer limited. Input devices operation, maximum space. The large capacitive touchscreen of the Apple iPhone 14 Pro Max offers much more space than the small Pro model, which provides a better overview. Gliding properties are excellent and inputs are implemented quickly and precisely. Apple's keyboard layout now also supports voice input as a parallel input method. Those who prefer to use a different keyboard can get one from the App Store. Face ID is once again exclusively responsible for biometric security. This is a three-dimensional facial recognition, which is not only considered to be very secure, but also works quickly and reliably. The one-hand mode is already activated ex-factory and can be carried out with a simple swipe over the lower display edge. The tapping gestures for the back are also again present and still distinguishes between double and triple taps, which can trigger different actions and have to be configured in the settings beforehand. Display, iPhone with super bright 120Hz LTPO OLED. The 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display of the iPhone 14 Pro Max works at a resolution of 2796 x 1290 and a dynamic refresh rate of 1 to 120 Hz.